Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tilting Ground Untitled Notre Dame USC Football Podcast. I'm USC fan Michael Muto, and I'm here with Notre Dame expert and upset friend Greg Flamond. Greg, how's it going?
I'm not in a good mood, Michael.
I know, and you're mad at me.
I am mad at you. That is
Greg,
factually correct.
Greg thinks I'm the jinx.
Well, you you texted me something you should not have texted me during the first quarter of the game, and it made me very upset.
Actually, it was like the first 2 minutes.
It was like after the first Stanford drive.
I told Greg that I felt like Stanford's almost turned the ball over 3 times already, and Notre Dame will be fine.
I'm just gonna read it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, at 5:18 p.m. our time. So the game just started. It's 2 minutes into the game, and I feel like the ball has almost been turned over 3 times. Notre Dame will be fine. And my response was, I cursed this text.
It was sent in good. I still hold it. It was sent in good faith.
No, I know it was. I know it was. I'm just saying, even good faith, you can't disrupt the gods like that.
Hey, I don't think the got anything to do with it. Notre Dame was winning in the fourth quarter.
Nah, man. Look, I've seen it. And this is the thing. This is the thing. So I texted you at what, about 2 hours before the game started,
Yeah,
that I thought Notre Dame had no chance.
no chance.
And the reason I thought that was because they weren't the same team that they've been. And they haven't been for 3 weeks. That was what I said. And
That's true.
and I was thinking about it, like thinking back about like the Navy game and the Miami game, and the thing that struck me is that it was very familiar. And and then it was like, oh, this is the team that I've seen in years previous. Like this is what it's looked like when Brian Kelly's teams just hit a wall, and then they're not what they've been anymore. And that was like, oh, okay, like now I understand. Like they're just treading water. And so when, look, going into it, it's like, of course they're not going to win. Like Stanford, they pulled out the game last week, and it's just like every other game that we play out there. Stanford makes the plays, and Notre
They
Dame,
keep it close and then they win.
yeah, and Notre Dame does things to keep it close instead of, putting it on them. And a perfect example is, it's tied at 17, and Chris Fink gets the ball on the punt return, and he returns it all the way down to the Stanford 20. Notre Dame proceeds to go um, illegal shift because Kevin Stefferson wasn't sure if he was supposed to go in motion, and then the tight end goes in motion, so they go illegal shift, and then Mike McGlinchey false starts. So they go to 1st and 20. The next run is a Kevin Stefferson run for 11, and then they basically stall out on the drive. And they kick a field goal, and Stanford goes down and scores on on a play where you have their quarterback getting harassed by our defensive end. He steps up and throws a bullet on a post route. And it's a play that Notre Dame could have made throughout
Yeah.
the game. They had the same situation. It's 3rd and 16, and Brandon Wimbush is in a clean pocket. He has Kevin Stefferson on an in route, and he throws it in the dirt. And it's just a perfect example of their guy making the play and our guy not. And that's what Notre Dame has been throughout Brian Kelly's tenure. And the big difference between Notre Dame this year and Notre Dame in seasons past is they did things in a different way. You
How
know,
so?
they ran the ball for 300 yards, and then they capitalized on those opportunities, and they kept teams out of the end zone. Right? They had a spell where they were 23 rushing touchdowns to 1 rushing touchdown. And then that just completely turned on its head, just completely. I mean, Stanford's, they're running the ball in the end zone. They're throwing jump balls in the end zone. We're getting run over. And, Josh Adams is 20 carries for 59 yards or whatever it is.
So what happened? Like, did everyone stop caring? Did everyone get sick of each other? Like what? How do you go from running all over everyone to just ho hum, spin your wheels offense?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've seen it happen before, but before there was like a precipitating factor, right? Like people got hurt. Like in 2014, the season fell apart, but like people were getting injured, and the defense was just not what it used to be. And even while the defense was falling apart, like the offense was still playing well. In this situation, like the offense completely, like Brandon Wimbush just broke. Like that Miami game, like it just broke him, and he has not looked the same since then. And I'm talking about
he was bad all season.
He was bad, but his demeanor, like he was not. You can tell when someone is decisive and aggressive, and he was not. Like he just didn't have the body language that you want. And I don't know if it's that. Like, look, the thing that made Notre Dame good this year was they ran the ball. They were running for 300 yards a game. Okay, and they did it against good teams. Like, people aren't running for 300 yards against USC. It didn't happen before Notre Dame, and it didn't happen after Notre Dame. They ran for 300 yards against NC State. They ran for 180 yards against Michigan State. They could run the ball on teams, and that was what made them good. And that just went away. It just went away. Like the line, they just stopped getting a push. And when you're not good at the thing that has made you good, like that's why they were good. That's why they were number 3. And when you stop being good at that, it's like, well, then why are we good? Like, why should we expect that they're going to, do whatever they can do against Stanford? They're a different team. And, someone on Twitter mentioned like, they felt like, she felt like it all kind of came up with the 33 trucking when that all started to pop up. They started to talk about that all the time with the hats, and they were doing like videos with the official school account and that sort of thing. And ever since then, it was just a little bit different. And
I mean, I think that's coincidence.
Maybe it is a coincidence, but the fact remains, like ever since that whole campaign started, something changed. I mean, it did. There's no getting around it.
Well, Josh Adams got hurt against Wake Forest, and then they ran into Miami.
Right, but they ran into Miami. It's not like they ran over Navy.
Well, after Miami, I feel like after Miami is the real like breaking
right,
point.
But he ran into Miami. I mean, Miami hasn't looked good on defense in the last couple of weeks now to some terrible teams. Like something's different. Like you went from elite to, well, you ran into Miami, and then you ran into Navy, and then you ran into Stanford. Like something was different. So, I mean, maybe it has nothing to do with it, but it's just a data point.
Correlation is not causation.
It's not. No.
I guess, but can we talk about the fourth quarter though of the Stanford game?
Sure.
Because that little 3-minute just barrage of terribleness that happened to you, I felt so bad for you.
Thank you.
though I was sending you comical gifts the whole time.
You were.
I felt very bad. Went the Stanford touchdown, Notre Dame interception, Stanford touchdown, Notre Dame fumble on kickoff, Stanford touchdown. Is that how it went?
That's how it went. That's how it went.
Man, that's
They went from up 20-17 to down 18 in 3 minutes.
that's
Three
crazy.
minutes and change.
I honestly don't think I've ever seen a worse stretch.
Um, yeah,
I
like
think up there.
um, I didn't even like yell or get real mad. I don't want to say I expected it, but it didn't surprise me. I
Well,
just felt
one
like it was. I felt
after
like
the
it was.
interception, I feel
Well, I
like
felt like it was coming. Like I felt like, oh, okay, there it is. They're finally because I mean, Wimbush just he never looked. I mean, the whole offense. Like I can't even blame Wimbush. Like they scored their two touchdowns on a pass to Stefferson that was kind of a broken play, and he gets behind the defensive back, and the safeties were caught chasing other routes down the field, and it's not like it was designed that way. So he catches it, and there's no one there, and he runs for 70 yards after the catch. So they scored on that. The other touchdown came on a crossing route to EQ, which is like a 5 yard. He catches it at 5 yards, and he turns and runs up the sideline untouched. So it's like they're not sustaining drives here. They're not pounding the running game, or they're not building on any sort of drive. Like
which should
they
make you feel
never.
good that they're capitalizing on small plays.
Well, no, I mean it does because they're free points. It's
Yeah,
like it's hard to score, right? So when you get them in that sense, it's like at a different time of the year, I probably would have felt like, hey, like Notre Dame shouldn't even be in this game, and they're winning.
right.
But you could just kind of tell, like they're getting ready to give this game away. And look, like that might be, being negative on my part, but like me thinking that at my house, like that doesn't mean that Notre Dame actually has to go out and do it.
Well, you're in the fourth quarter. I mean, you're picking up on things you watched in the game. Before the game, you're just being a concerned fan. It's two different things.
Yeah, but like I'm watching it and I'm thinking like, dude, they're getting ready to give this game away, and especially when it's like you do the thing with, like you have these opportunities that you're giving the other team chances. Like little things, like I said, like you have Stefferson on an in route and you throw it in the dirt, and it's like, well, then you have to punt. You're giving away points on that. You have Niles Morgan, who is one-on-one with Bryce Love in the hole. Bryce Love spins off him and he runs for 40 yards after Notre Dame had just scored. Like you're just that's
You're just letting Stanford hang around.
and
You're not finishing it off. You're not.
like that's a captain.
Yeah.
It's a captain, man. And Tavon Coney, like earlier in the game, like he makes that play, and the senior captain, middle linebacker, like he misses the play. I mean, these are your veterans. Like you have Mike McGlinchey getting pushed around. It's for again. It
Then
just
false starts.
and false state. Like if you can't count on these guys, this is the strength of their team. And if the strength fails you, then you're not, like I don't think that, like that team's not a bowl team. Like the team that took the field against that, that's not a bowl team. They're not, because they can't run and
You
they
can't
can't
pass
really
for
throw.
sure.
Yeah. And it's
And
like they
then
give up
that
big
puts the
plays.
defense in trouble.
Yeah, like they give up big plays in the passing game. It's just, what are they good at? What can they
Right now,
do?
nothing,
Right. They're not good at anything. So
which is unfortunate for you, I guess.
it's a bummer because, and it's funny, I was thinking about it. Like SC finished with a better record.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too before we started this.
Yeah, SC finished with a better record this year.
I
And
mean,
and the funny thing is like it's so markedly different because, like I said it in earlier podcasts, like it was not a fluke. It was not a fluke. The Notre Dame's three best wins this year are against teams with a combined record of 27-9. Like they
Pretty
won
good.
by a combined 76 points. Like that's not a fluke. They didn't get lucky with anything. They beat them up. And then you come out and then it just something turns and that team is gone. And where did it go?
Just inept. You're just
Yeah, like I didn't even want to like I was dreading the game. Like I wasn't really on Twitter and like the previous week like talking about it. I didn't look at the like a lot of film or anything. Like I didn't want the game to be played because
you just knew.
I knew how it was going to go. Like I didn't have a good feeling. I texted Tim before the game like I have Stanford 34-20. It's
Not
just
bad.
it just what it felt like. It felt like it. And I didn't want it to be true, but it
Right.
was.
I mean, you've watched enough Notre Dame football. You've watched this team for an entire college football season now.
Yeah,
And
I've watched enough Brian Kelly teams, and when he
that
loses
too.
them, he loses them. He can't get them back. So
Crazy.
here we go.
So what bowl game do the Fighting Irish get to go to?
I guess they're gonna be in Orlando for like either the Citrus Bowl or another bowl game. Like I don't know if it's in the same stadium or what. Like on like 4 days different. But they'll either play like a Big 12 team, so like Iowa State
Ugh.
or some what have you, or like Mississippi State or like LSU.
Oh man, did you see the kid at Mississippi State break his leg?
No,
Oh, it's real bad. It was one of the worst injuries I've seen in a while.
really?
Yeah, his foot was just like hanging there.
Who was he?
The quarterback.
Oh, the quarterback.
Yeah,
Oh, terrible.
whose name escapes me, but we have talked about it on this podcast before
Oh,
because I had to watch the Mississippi State game on a plane once.
oh yeah, that's right. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
I mean, what I saw was LSU, so I wasn't really thinking.
Coach O. And see, we got connections all over the board.
You do, you do. It would be fitting if Notre Dame lost to a team that lost to Troy. It would be fitting.
I mean, but who knows? Bowl games are such a crapshoot.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to? I mean, I put it on Twitter like they need to throw 60 times in this game. Like try to break the attempts record.
Just to see if Wimbush can even complete
Yeah, like you got
25.
like you need to get used to playing college football. Like because I mean, look, it's a huge handicap when you can't do like basic stuff.
Yeah.
Like the interception he threw, like what are you looking at, man? Like you threw it into double coverage, like on a simple, like they've been playing cover 2 all game. Like the kid's sitting there in press, and of course he's coming
What'd you
off
think?
the up.
What were you looking
like
at?
of
What'd you
course he's
think was going to
passing him off
happen?
to the safety who's sitting on the hash. Like why are you even looking there? Like it's so basic. And it's like when you can't
But
do
he doesn't
that
even know how to
stuff.
make reads.
And the other thing I was thinking was, I was critical of how they started the game against Miami, right?
Uh-huh.
Like just
And Navy.
well, Navy was just kind of like you're being stupid. But the Miami part was, you can't let the team throw 3 interceptions in the first half
Right.
and get blown out like that. But they started this game basically how I wanted them to start the Miami game. They ran the ball with not great success, and they were trying to run it. And, it kept them from blowing up on the big play, early in the game. But eventually, like, it ended up pretty much the same. Like, the result, like, I feel like the result would have been the same. Like, Wimbush was ready to throw the ball to the other team.
He just win.
Yeah, like, he was going to do it. There was no, and maybe they knew, I don't know, but there was nothing they really could have done. Like when you call like a basic like a little out with the tight end and up with the receiver, and he throws it to the corner who's sitting in cover two. Like, that's basic stuff. You can't count on him to do the basic things. Then, I mean, what are we hoping for?
Yeah.
So he was, at the end of the day, like, he was not going to be good enough. And that was the other thing, like people having this conversation, Notre Dame people on Twitter, about, like, they were going through over all the scenarios where Notre Dame can make the playoff.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, like this, and this is the same conversation that we've had in previous years, where it's like, well, what if we do this, and what if this happens? It's like, this team is not going to win the game coming up.
Like they're going to lose anyways.
Yeah, like, they're not going to beat this team. Like, it doesn't matter what, and it's like Tim was even having that conversation with me. It's like, Notre Dame, they're going to, what are you going to be mad if Ohio State makes it over them? And I'm thinking, I don't
even the
care.
broadcasters.
Yeah,
they ran that graphic before Notre Dame blew the game.
Yeah, like, I don't care, because this team is not good anymore. They're not good.
They're limping into the postseason.
Yeah, they're not going to win this game. So why am I going to get upset about Ohio State hypothetically passing Notre Dame? Like, Ohio State won their game. So, yeah.
Rough. Just rough. Well, we'll do a postmortem.
It always ends in humiliation, Michael.
It always does for you.
Every time. And that's fine.
If Notre Dame had the goal of winning the Pac-12 South, you could have your season end on a high note. You should achieve your goals.
That's the thing. Like, there's something to that. Why hasn't Notre Dame, just the community, not just Brian Kelly, because, like, this is across coaches, where it's like the season, quote unquote, ends, like a good season ends, and it's just like, okay, like, we're done. We have nothing to play for, so it's like, we lost. We're gonna lose our edge, and we're not gonna, fight the same way that we have, and it's happened a number of years. It's not just this year. And I don't. It's like, why haven't they been able to find a way to kind of just keep the team interested after they can't win the national championship?
I mean, yeah, maybe it's not being in a conference. I mean, all you Notre Dame people,
but I feel like
you're bigger than conferences.
I feel like it's such a known thing. Like, they haven't been in a conference forever. It's like, figure out a way to motivate these guys. Like, just figure it out. Whatever button there is to push it.
Well, I guess after they lost to Miami, I don't know. But had they beat Miami, I assume they would have stayed motivated.
Of course. Yeah, like, if you beat Miami, it's all there for you. It's all there. Like, it would have been, like, they wouldn't have given this performance. So, I'm just so frustrated with this program right now. It's so frustrating.
So Brian Kelly gets to come back?
Of course.
Of course. There's a top 15 team in the nation, Mike.
Well, it's like, look, he goes 4-8. Okay. If you don't fire him then, you can't fire him after 9-3.
For doing better.
To follow it. Yeah, to follow it up. Like, you can't. Especially when they were number 3 at one point. And they beat USC by 35. You can't fire him then. So I think if they went 9-3 next year, you could fire him after that.
Because you're spinning your wheels.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're spinning their wheels now,
right?
And they shouldn't look at it like that. They should look at it like, no, like, 4-8 was your fault. Like, we're spinning our wheels now. 4-8 was something that you did that was stupid. We gave you new coaches, and that's all fine and good. But then your team fell apart, and that's not good enough. So, I mean, it's like someone put on Twitter, like, what grade do you give them? It's like I gave them a C, 75%, because that's the percentage of games that they won. You win 75%, that's a C. It's like, what are you trying to do? You trying to be a championship team, or you trying to be like, well, it was a good season, and we beat some teams that were good, and this and that and the other thing. It
Let's
doesn't.
do it all again next year.
Yeah, we're just spinning around. So I don't know. It's like it's not for me to like. It's like, am I going to call for his job or anything? Like I don't. They're going to
Not,
keep him. So.
not just yet.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I thought they should have fired him last year, and they didn't. So.
Okay. All right.
Whatever.
All right. Whatever. We'll figure out who Notre Dame plays in a bowl game next week. This week we have the Trojans playing on Friday, though.
Yep.
In the Pac-12 title game, because the Pac-12 is, such a major conference that their championship is on a Friday in the middle of the week, or not on the weekend. Cool, guys. The Trojans will be playing the Stanford Cardinal, who all the Notre Dame fans just saw play on Saturday. It's a rematch. USC beat the Cardinal the last time they played. Probably one of the better games of USC season, if not the best.
I was probably the best in hindsight.
Maybe Arizona State. Arizona State might have been the best.
Stanford.
Arizona State's terrible. Yeah.
Plus, it's just like it was a big game at the time. Like USC, people still thought they were like a national title contender. So,
hey, the ABC commentators still think USC is a national title contender.
Okay.
Which is, a chuckle.
I mean, I don't know. I guess if like things break their way, I guess they could be.
I don't know, man. But we'll see. Anyways, so USC plays Stanford. USC did not play this past weekend, so we have no game to talk about.
What's the line?
USC by 3. I looked this morning.
Oh, okay.
It's in San Jose.
It's in San Jose?
Yeah, at the 49ers Stadium.
Oh, okay. So Santa Clara.
Whatever, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
not
different.
Not Southern California. It's the same thing.
Well, it is definitely not.
That's like if I said the Rose Bowl's in, well, I was going to say LA, but that's pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's like an hour away. Like you fly into San Jose to go to the 49er games.
Well, you must have enjoyed Stanford giving Bryce Love 20 carries.
I did. That was great. That was fantastic.
The kid can barely run.
Yeah. Their best player on their team has a busted ankle.
Like, dude, he's limping off the field every freaking
Stanford
time.
doesn't need to win to go to the Pac-12 title game.
Nope.
And, I mean, I guess you always want to win. Like, it's not a good look to phone it in. But, come on. You're Stanford. You just run the ball anyways. Just put the backup in there.
You know what's interesting, Michael? Is that Stanford found a way to get a performance out of their team when they had nothing to play for.
Yeah.
What do you know?
What do you know?
What do you know? Man.
Well, I mean, what's his name? David Shaw passed Pop Warner on the all-time Stanford wins list. He's a motivator of men.
Yep.
No, but I feel like I hope that this game will just be a replay of week 2 of the season.
Well, what's your feeling about it?
I don't know. I think the week off is good for SC.
Mm-hmm.
I think the short rest is bad for Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
USC is used to giving up big plays and being in close games. I don't quite think Stanford can get too far ahead of SC if things really go bad. SC knows they can put up points on Stanford because they did it already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think USC whips them, to be honest with you.
Because Stanford, they just have the one good player, and then their wide receivers make plays. They're like physical on the outside. So USC is going to be good for one blown coverage at least. There's a touchdown there.
Yeah,
but they'll probably be good for 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
just because of how Stanford plays.
Like this quarterback, Like he just played the best game of his life, so he's not going to be doing that 2 weeks in a row.
And I feel like a lot of those completions were like real 50-50 balls.
They were
It
totally
wasn't
50
like
balls.
he was like pinpoint accuracy, just picking Notre Dame apart. He was just kind of throwing it up to their tall receivers.
Well, the second touchdown on the fade, like it wasn't even like he fluttered the thing. Like
Yeah.
it was like ridiculous. And of course
Like
they
this
caught
wasn't the
it.
second coming of Andrew Luck back there.
No, it was not. But so
So
people are going to be patting him on his back with his 4 touchdown passes. So, yeah, I just don't. The SC is going to whip on them. I think they're going to run the ball. Stephen Carr is probably a lot healthier now,
yep.
so they're going to run the ball.
They
And
get a
Sam
they get a week
Darnold,
off.
yeah, and Sam Darnold is better at quarterback than Brandon Wimbush. So
All the youngsters on USC are more seasoned now.
exactly,
The
yeah. I'm
the
just
yeah. I
Stanford
mean
is
the
not
one
like they're not that good.
no.
No,
I mean Porter Gustin probably may not play. I mean I don't know what's up with him, but
he's got the bicep.
I think it's his foot again. He
His
has
foot
both.
now.
He has screws in his foot and then like a torn bicep. They happened like at the same time.
Oh,
So I think when he came back, what was it, Arizona State? I think his foot started bothering him again, so they just shut him down. So we'll see if he can go for Friday. But yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I think the week off will be good for the Trojans because they get to heal up. They get to really scout. Everyone knows what Stanford's doing anyways. So if Clay Helton's worth anything, he should be able to game plan with 2 weeks notice of Stanford, who has been doing the same thing for 15 years.
yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, what's the game plan?
Like
They probably do a little bit
so,
different, but
not
usually
much. It's just power right, power left.
exactly.
Put a tight end, extra lineman on the left side. Like it's all stuff you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be okay. I don't think there's anything like really any problems for USA. I think the wide receivers are probably better than when they started against Stanford, so that's good.
I mean, this inevitable USC victory is evidence enough why Brian Kelly should be fired.
Because 5 days ago you were sure Notre Dame was going to lose to Stanford, and today you're pretty positive SC is going to beat Stanford,
Well, just like the team
and
that
Notre Dame beat SC by
like the
100.
team that you beat by 35 is now about to be 11-2, and you're 9-3, and they just beat the team that you lost to twice. The team that you can't beat, they lost to twice. I mean, they beat twice.
Right.
Like Notre Dame
Which
can't
which
beat
is weird.
Stanford to save their lives, and SC is going to beat them 2 times. And it's like you took this team and turned it into a shell of itself.
I mean, honestly, after the Notre Dame game, if I said this, people probably would have thought I was crazy. But I think SC could probably beat Miami. I think they're
Miami,
pretty comparable.
they absolutely could. Miami is not like, first of all, there aren't that many like really good teams
Yeah,
in college football this year, so
that helps.
they could absolutely beat Miami. They absolutely could. I mean, the only team that I think that would really scare me for USC would be Auburn is one. Um, like they are just incredibly physical. Um, so and
But
that
their running back
quarterback.
got hurt.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming like they wouldn't be playing Auburn until what, like just like January, whatever.
Good point.
So it's like I assume he'd be healthy. Um, I would have concerns against Ohio State.
I don't know, man. They shoot themselves in the foot a lot.
They do.
So that's kind of like that's a toss up though. Like that's not really you beating them. That's more them beating
Right.
themselves.
And then Clemson. I feel like Clemson's really good.
And Alabama. I don't think SC could beat Alabama.
Right. So the top four and Oklahoma too. They couldn't. I don't think they
Yeah,
could.
they probably couldn't beat Oklahoma.
So I guess 5 or 6.
Which is
But
about right.
Miami, they could beat Miami. No question.
I mean, Miami could beat them too. It's not like, you know.
No, yeah. I mean, but like Notre Dame mid-October could beat Miami also.
Right.
So
Yes, they're in the this 5 to 12 hodgepodge of all these teams can beat each other.
yep. You know
So I
what
don't
it
know.
felt like? You know what it felt like? This is gonna sound really weird. It felt like like as the game was coming up, like I was thinking like it's too late to fix the team. It's too late to fix them. Because like Notre Dame, like because like I said, mid-October, you look ahead to the Miami game and you think, I mean, the Stanford game, and you think Notre Dame can handle Stanford. Like the way
They're
they're running the
rolling.
ball, yeah, the way they're running the ball and the way their defense is playing, like they handle Stanford no problem. And it was over consecutive weeks. It's not like it was one game. That's the thing about it. Like it wasn't that the USC game. Like I thought Notre Dame would win the game, but I didn't think they'd win by 35. But I thought they were good enough. Like I thought they were on par with USC. And then it was the same thing against NC State, and it was the same thing against Michigan State. So it's like you have that baseline, but then it's like after Miami happened, it's like, oh no, like it's too late now. Like they can't go back and play them when they were actually ready to play them. And I felt like it was like election night, like the same kind of feeling. It was like, oh no, like
Oh no.
it's too late. Like you can't go back and
You're seeing the flaws. You're like, oh, this is what. Oh no.
yeah, and now the flaws are out there, and it's like votes are coming in, and it's like, oh, we can't go back and change it now.
You can't put the cat back in the bag.
You cannot. So that was how I felt about you know like getting ready for this game. It's like I can't go back in time and get mid-October Notre Dame back. Like this is the thing, and they're just not the same. They just don't have it. So
It just fell apart, man.
they did.
It's just
They
weird.
did.
It's just weird that it is weird that SC has a better record.
Because and you know what? They deserve to. They're better than them now. Like Notre Dame could not beat them now. Like
Nah, the way they played, yeah, the way they played on
yeah, like
yesterday.
if for some reason like the game against Stanford was a championship game that Notre Dame was playing USC, like Notre Dame would lose to them in a similar way, probably.
I mean, Josh Adams hadn't had a big run in like 5 weeks.
What was his last big run? He had like a 30-yard run against Navy, but he looked terrible on it. None against Miami. None against Wake Forest because he got hurt. So yeah, the last one was NC State.
USC.
No. NC State was after.
It was? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's that week. That weekend just blocks from my memory.
Yep. Yeah, he hasn't in a long time.
I really wanted USC to play Washington State in the revenge game.
I don't think so.
No, it's not going to happen.
Well, it's not that. I mean, well, it's easy to say now because Washington just whipped on them, but you know. Oh man.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there anything I'm worried about for Stanford?
I mean, you're worried. Like, what you're worried about is what happened to Notre Dame, and it's a sudden change in the quality of your team.
Over 4 quarters. The
Yeah,
USC
like
does it all the time. Like, I mean, they're like They're up and down all every game. Like it's not a big deal. They've done that before.
Like they would have to, but they would have to show up and just be like demonstrably like they'd have to be a different team. You'd have to be watching them and think they are unrecognizable to me. And then it's like, well, then, I mean, if I don't know what to expect, I mean, anything could happen then.
Right.
Because I just don't like Bryce Love. Like he's not the same.
Yeah, he's hurt too.
I mean, it's like, look, they scored 24 points on him last time, but he's a lot less fresh than he was last time. And what hurt USC against UCLA was Josh Rosen, and this KJ Costello character. Like he's not that.
He is not Josh Rosen.
No. So I don't. I mean, fluky stuff, right? Like turnovers. I mean, the USC's turned the ball over a lot. I mean, that's your concern. It's like, are we going to turn the ball over?
Even that, I think SC will get Stanford to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. I got no other fun USC news and notes. It was a quiet week for the Trojans. It was Thanksgiving, so there was not a lot going on.
How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was wonderful. I did two Thanksgivings in one day.
That's amazing.
How are the kids?
You went to your mom's and then you went to Tracy's or what?
My aunt. I did my aunt's house and then my wife's family.
Oh, perfect.
A little 1 o'clock and like a little like 5 o'clock.
That's fantastic.
What was the best thing? I was very full.
What was the best thing you ate the whole thing?
My uncle, he barbecues the turkey. So shout out to my uncle. He wakes up in the morning, puts the bird on the barbecue, and it's a very unique taste. It's kind of smoky, and I'm not a big turkey fan to begin with, and I think that's the best way to do it.
I don't think anyone really is a big turkey fan.
No, no one is.
No. That's like the untold secret of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no one wants turkey.
No.
What was the best thing you ate on Thanksgiving?
Well, so we went to my in-laws. So my wife's mom makes a really good stuffing.
Ooh, I love a good stuffing.
It's just really it's really moist. And it also has a little bit of crunch to it.
Perfect. It sounds perfect.
Yeah, and then so it's like it goes really well with the gravy.
Yeah, I mean the gravy is the real winner on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so it goes really well with the gravy, and then her aunt makes like a really good green bean casserole.
All right.
So, yeah, and then because obviously you have the staples, you have the mashed potatoes and the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows and that sort of thing. So
I will say this about having two Thanksgivings this year. My family and her family, completely different sides.
Really?
Which is nice. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Italians, that's me. We're not really known for our Thanksgiving fare.
True.
So I mean, besides stuffing, I guess stuffing and turkey are probably the only two things that were the same.
Well, that's good. Your first,
even that people's stuffing is different from person to person, so that's
it is. No, it totally is.
The same.
Yeah. Well, your first Thanksgiving as a married man. That's great.
It was a wonderful one.
Good.
All right, so we'll be back next week for Pac-12 championship game recap. If USC wins, it'll be the first time a Pac-12 South team has won the Pac-12 title.
Is that true?
Fun fact.
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh, cool. we didn't talk about UCLA has a new coach in Chip Kelly.
Oh yeah,
he's back in the pack.
You can't feel good about that.
I don't know. I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay with it?
If he was a real competitor, he would have taken the Florida job. Really tested himself and challenged himself. He's a Took the easier job at UCLA, less expectations,
Well,
easier, not easier recruiting, same recruiting probably.
well, I
Uh,
mean,
a,
it's what he's familiar with.
a conference he's already played in. I'll
Right.
always compete, man. Always compete.
That's not competing?
No, no, he would have gone to Florida.
Okay. This sounds a lot like you're trying not to acknowledge the fact that this is terrible for your school.
You got to find whatever silver linings you can and hang on to them.
Well, shoot, man. I mean, like, because now, you know, he's the better coach. I mean, let's just be
Yes,
real.
he is the
So,
better coach. That's the problem. Well, he's a chappy dude though, and I feel like UCLA is a tough place to coach for some reason. I don't know why. So
why do you think that?
it just seems like it should be. They should have a good team all the time, and they don't.
Uh-huh.
And like even their basketball team's kind of up and down. Like I don't know. I just feel like they're not a very steady place for some reason. And so he's a chappy dude. So maybe he'll bristle and it won't work out.
Maybe. I mean, look, it might not. I honestly, I think if they want to, and this might be the same for Notre Dame, like, dude, you want to be like taken seriously, you need to get some Nike uniforms.
I also heard UCLA is hard. It's hard to recruit. They're doing the whole Notre Dame thing now, where
What's
they're
that?
like, oh, our UC standards are so hard. And people who get into Cal we can't get athletes who can get into Cal are athletes who can't get into UCLA.
Oh,
That's the thing I was hearing all last week.
oh, silly.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that. I'll get into it on another podcast, but I have this whole other tangent about Notre Dame and their program.
Well, we'll have some space to fill for bowl
Yeah,
games.
I've been thinking a lot about it.
All
We'll
right.
get into it later.
Great. Wonderful.
Cool.
I'm sure Greg will have some kind of Notre Dame stuff for you at
Oh,
uhnd.com.
it's written. It'll
Oh,
come out tomorrow.
okay. Fantastic.
I made fun of Brian Kelly doing yoga. The yoga didn't save him.
The yoga didn't save him. So we'll be on after the bowl selection show, so we'll know who everyone's playing next week, and then we'll know when they're playing, so we can do recaps and the whole 9 yards. So as we wind into the end of the season, but maybe we'll try to think of something fun. We'll try to get a fun one out there.
Well, we
usually
have an
do
awards. We usually do
We do
awards.
awards.
I guess. Do you want to do it before the bowls or after?
It depends on when they play them. If
Because
I think
Notre Dame's banquet is before,
okay,
so they're gonna come out with all their like MVPs.
so
and
we
stuff.
we maybe want to get ahead of them.
Yeah.
See, but if we did it before, then we would have missed the Rose Bowl, which was like the highlight of the SC season.
I know, but it's a regular season. These are regular season
All right,
awards.
regular season awards. All right, we can
Yeah.
do that. So once we get the schedule next week, we'll put something together.
Okay.
And on that note, fight on.
Go Irish.